take the roll call. Councillor Jason Barr.
Here, Stephen.
Thank you. Councillor Raymond Barr. Councillor Shauna Cusack.
Here, Stephen.
Alderman Morris Devaney.
Here, Stephen.
Councillor Gary Donnelly.
On shot.
Councillor Rory Farrell. Alderman Darren Guy is giving his apologies. We're going to try and get in shortly. Councillor Sean Harkin.
Here.
Councillor Conor Heaney.
Sure, Stephen.
Councillor Patricia Logue.
And short, Stephen.
Councillor John McGowan. Councillor Kieran Maguire. Alderman David Ramsey.
Stephen, he'll be signing in a bit later on, about 4:15. He's running a wee bit late.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Sinai Barr.
I'm here, Stephen, as well. John McGowan, sorry for being late.
No bother. Thanks, John. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay. And now read the broadcasting statement just to remind everyone present at the meeting in the Guildhall or attending remotely that this meeting is broadcast live to the internet and will be capable of repeat viewing. This broadcast may be terminated or suspended in accordance with our protocol. Due to your attendance at this meeting, you're consenting to being filmed and to use and storage of those images for broadcasting and for training purposes and for the purpose of keeping historical records and making those records available to the public. Members and approved speakers are reminded only to have their mics and cameras on while speaking at the meeting and use the chat facility to highlight a request to speak. And the council privacy notice is on our council website. Next items, declarations of interest. Members can do this now or during the course of the meeting. I'd like to declare 2 points of interest, one pecuniary interest in item 11 and a matter in confidential. I'll return to that interest at the onset of confidential. If anyone else wants to declare an interest now, then either put it in the chat or indicate they speak.
Connor, Patricia here. I just want to declare an interest in the ESA. I'm on the board of TRIAX. Okay,
thanks, Councillor Logue. Okay, if there's no one else, just moving on to chairperson's business. I don't have any items for chairperson's business, but I just want to say a couple of short things. Just first to explain to members why I'm not chairing this meeting from the Guildhall. Unfortunately, I've got COVID at the minute and I'm isolating, so that's the reason why I'm attending this remotely. Second item was just I want to wish everyone a very happy International Women's Day. It's significant that we're holding our meeting on that particular day. And then just finally to inform members that there's been a change in the issued agenda, and that the Northwest Carnival Initiative will be making their presentation after we've dealt with the minutes, rather than at the very end of the meeting. So there was the reason that that had to be done at the end was no longer required, so we moved it back to a more traditional spot for presentations. So I'll bring Jim in when we've dealt with the minutes. So the next item is matters arising from the minutes of the previous Business and Culture meeting. If anyone has any matters arising, then please indicate in the chat now, please. Okay, no one has indicated, and I know those minutes already been proposed and seconded, so that's that item dealt with as well. So that moves us on. Just to welcome Jim Collins from the Northwest Carnival Initiative into the meeting. Jim, you're very welcome, and we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say, and then we can any members that have any questions or comments then can do it at the end. So over to yourself, Jim.
Okay, thank you, Connor, and thanks for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you all. I passed on to presentations, a PowerPoint presentation and a film. I think, could we start with the PowerPoint presentation? Is it up? Oh, here we go. That's great. Okay. Forgive my ignorance, but will I just ask the person who's controlling us to go to the next slide? Right, that's fine. Okay, thank you. Now, I'm not sure some members here will be familiar with the organisation, but I'm just going to give you a wee quick background. Established in 2004, the Carnival have led the development of community and civic carnival arts in Derry City and Strabane District Council area. Through creative quality carnival creative and skills development programs, we have worked in partnership to grow the appeal of the city's two main carnivals. You'll obviously be familiar with them, the Spring Carnival and the Halloween Carnival, developing and increasing participation in audiences to create family-friendly, inclusive, quality, safe events for visitors and local communities alike. So next slide, please. These are just some photographs. That's obviously the Halloween parade. We have the Spring Carnival. That's another one of the Spring Carnival. These are all giving you obviously a good insight as to what we're delivering upon. Now, the Carnival itself is a consortium with a management committee that is representatives from the various arts organisations throughout the town and district. This includes the Waterside, Cityside, Rural and Strabane, and individual organisations include Greater Chantal Community Arts, In Your Space, Solace Centre Brady, Bluebell Arts, Waterside Neighbourhood Partnership, Newgate Arts, the Strabane Community Project and the Rainbow Project. So from the offset, we were very keen to ensure that we were representative both of the city, both the East and the West Bank, and obviously the rural and Strabane and everywhere in between. Next slide, please. This is just, again, some historical photographs of some of our activity. That was the maritime presentation we put together involving the Solace dancers. Here's an example of some of our in-house training. Training in carnival skills is integral to the work we deliver upon. It's important that we grow our own artistic community locally. So that's an example of that. Next slide, please. Obviously, the Carnival have been recognised for the work they have delivered upon. In 2019, we secured a 5-year service level agreement totaling 104,000 annually with Derry City and Strabane District Council for programming. That includes primarily the community participation in carnival parades at St. Patrick's Day and Halloween, and a rural carnival skills program development. We have delivered carnival arts programs and supplied animation for a wide range of festivals and activity. But people will be familiar with, most recently, we delivered upon the Illuminate Festival. But other than that, we deliver widely across both Derry City Council and the Strabane area, various kind of programs like the Strabane Christmas Lights, the Summer Jam, A Wiggle on the Walls, a Carnival of Colours, to name but a few. Next slide, please. This is just another example of the Maritime Festival. Northwest Carnival Initiative enjoys. No, go ahead. If you can go back to that, the slide that has the writing. Yes, thank you. The Carnival enjoys membership from over 100 community-based groups and organisations. In addition, we have worked with an array of carnival and arts organisations to deliver carnival arts training, community skills development, and programs across the council area. Next, yep. Obviously, with COVID restrictions has meant in the last number of years we've encountered a lot of challenges with the cancellation of carnival parades. So we have endeavoured to rise to the challenge, and I think we have done so successfully. Last spring we delivered the Imagine programme, which was meant to, I suppose, continue to engage people at St. Patrick's Day. So if you want to move on, please. I'll show members some examples of what we've done. Last year, we basically produced a program that one, we could continue to engage with participants, thereby delivering upon our efforts in terms of the service level agreement. And part of the Imagine program was to decorate public spaces across the city. Here we have obviously the statue at the end of the bridge. Next slide, please. We obviously couldn't have a parade, but what we endeavoured to do was still provide opportunities for local performers. They still deliver upon that. Obviously not to the same scale, but we provided, as I say, opportunities for them to perform. And what we did then was film it and then put it online. Next slide. And the next one, please. Here's an example of some of the efforts we made in terms of decorating across the city. This is just down from the city walls. If you want to move on, please, I'll show some more examples. This was a thing we put on the bank, and basically the theme of the Imagine program was meant to kind of deliver upon this notion of springtime being a time of new growth, the emergence of new life. So a lot of our themes explored were floral and bright. So this one here, for example, was obviously at the time we were smack in the middle of COVID, and we wanted to join the wider community in acknowledging our frontline workers. So the heart symbolises our love of nurses and doctors in particular. So it was a kind of public manifestation of that. Next slide. Again, this is we spread some activity where was possible to engage with communities. We did. That's an example of, I suppose, showing the rainbow. Rainbows, if you catch your mind back, were the kind of common kind of symbol that you recognise frontline workers. So that's an example of, we work with Newgate Arts in the production of rainbow-coloured butterflies that adorned different sites within the Fountain Estate. Next, please. Again, this is just with inside the walls, and we created like fairy gardens across parks and public spaces across the town. If you want to move on, please. Here's an example of we engage local artist-led kind of installations where they produced various wee site-specific installations that I suppose explored the space themselves. We arranged for an installation of a number of fairy gardens across several parks in the town and district, which included St. Colum's Park, Kilfennan Park, Brook Park, and the Fun Embankment, and a couple of locations in Strabane as well. If you want to just move on. Next slide. Thank you. Again, I'm just going to quickly go through these. It's just photos will I suppose, describe more eloquently than my words what we actually delivered upon. Next slide, please. More examples. I mean, it was important for us as well to not only continue to find ways to engage the community, but also provide opportunities for our artists who were suffering greatly. I mean, obviously, with the absence of parades, this was provide a lot of challenges for our local arts community, and it has kind of suffered, and it's something maybe I'll talk about later. Next slide. In addition to the artist-led stuff, we created a whole range of activity online. We had various tutorials that were aimed at young people, and this is an example. We engaged a number of artists to produce tutorials in the creation of fairy doors, how to make flowers, and for each of the tutorials we produced free of charge packs. So basically, we arranged with we put it in an email, and people would book a time where they would come to our carnival workshop, and we would hand out the various materials. And this proved to be highly successful, with over 500 packs in total going out So you had at least 500 people directly engaged in the online tutorial aspect of it. And if you consider parades would normally engage 600, we were already well on the way of delivering upon widespread community participation. So if you want to just carry on, next slide. And next. These are some of the fairy doors in situ that really did capture the imagination of people, and they were hugely successful. Next slide, please. And the next. Here, I mean, obviously, the parade, there's a parade in Derry. Well, normally, traditionally, there's a parade in Derry and Strabane, and we're obviously mindful that we have to have a president, we have to engage the Strabane community. Here's an example of some of the site-specific installations that's up at the alley. The next one, please. In addition to that, we engaged a Donegal artist, Brendan Farrell, in the production of a willow-based structure that was put on permanent display at the Strabane Community Projects allotment. Next one, please. This is the mayor at the time, Brian Tierney, the artist, and that's Ursula Doherty, who is thankfully has subsequently come on our board. As again, it's important from our point of view to be reflective of the communities we serve. Next one, please. And that's an example of some of the installations that happen along the canal in Strabane as well. Again, the whole theme is rainbow colours, meant to be bright, and I suppose lift people's mood, and it did serve to do that. You know, judging by the positive feedback we got. Next one. And the next. Again, that's up at our workshop in the Craigin. These are some examples of some of the crochet work that was produced by Margaret Crabtree, who's well known locally in terms of developing crochet classes. Next one. That was one of the really success stories, and we actually managed we basically, Margaret created a number of tutorials on our behalf and in creating various flowers that represented spring, you know, like daffodils and daisies and forget-me-nots, where she created a tutorial along with us that was put online, and local people then got in touch with us, and we supplied them with materials free of charge. The finished work then was then put on display in and around the Diamond and Shipkey Street, so provided a really cross section of the community to get involved and actively participate and our creative kind of dressing within the city centre. And why I think it was really successful was that we engaged a kind of demographic, if you like. I mean, they weren't all exclusively middle-aged or female, but a sizable amount of them were, and these are the sort of new demographic for us to get involved. And I say the enthusiasm, you know, from the people who got involved was incredible. We had groups from right across the town. We had there's a lot of crochet groups, established groups as well as individuals. So we had crochet groups from Eglinton, from Caw, from Craigin, Tullyally and Kilmore, you know, so give you an idea of getting into areas that traditionally we weren't normally getting into. So that was, while the COVID presented us, and still does in some respects, with challenges in terms of, you know, organising activity, this was certainly one where we had unforeseen kind of successes. Next slide, please. These are just some photographs of some of the women who are involved. Basically, we sent them out the packs, they produced the work and came back with their flyers. So next one. And the next one. And the next. And the next. I mean, some of the women were producing bags and bags of crochet flowers and shamrocks. It was incredible. I mean, they were definitely a credit. Next one. And in addition to that, we we put out an open call to engage with local artists and shop owners and businesses within the city centre, primarily the Shapey Street and the Diamond, which led us then to work directly with organisations like the Fashion Hub, the Richmond Centre, Shipkey Fabrics, where they got directly involved, and we provided them with materials, and they created, installations that serve to brighten the street. So if you give me the next one, please. That's the result of the Fashion Hub's installation. You can see it's quite a bright and beautiful piece of work. Next one. And these are some of the floral kind of installations we created for the street. Most of you will remember at the time it did serve I suppose, lift people's spirits a wee bit, as this is early, and brighten the city centre. Obviously, the parade is always a time of the year where it attracts thousands of people into the town. That wasn't possible anymore, but we feel that in our kind of small wee help to do our small but to attract people back. Next. And the next one. Again, these are the floral crochet work. Next one. So it provided on a large scale opportunities for people who never would get involved in creative activity before in a public way. We provided them with them opportunities. Next one. And the next one. Next one. I'm just giving these wee quick looks. Carry on, please. And the next one. We basically turned Shapey Street into a rainbow of colour. The next one. This is up in the Diamond, and the flowers have significance because they're forget-me-nots. And the next. You can see the level of kind of creativity. So our next kind of big challenge was Halloween. Obviously, there was no parade again, but thankfully we worked with the festivals and events team in terms of what their plans were for the Halloween parade, or sorry, the Halloween festival, and we took on to create a light-based installation trail within St. Colum's Park House grounds, and we carried on some of the themes that we use traditionally at Halloween. The Morrigan, so the Morrigan Awakens was our kind of our branding of the event. So if you wish to, you could just batter on now, please. So what we did again, we provided opportunities for local artists to engage on the theme, which was the Morrigan, and they created individual pieces. In addition to that, we didn't lose sight of the fact that, traditionally we would have had hundreds of people out in the streets. So we organised a range of in-person workshops. We had over 400 community participation groups, over 400 participation and groups included held. Because the trail was on the water side, that gave us an impetus to try and engage more widely within the water side, and along with Alison Wallace from the Waterside Neighbourhood Partnership, who again coincidentally, or not by coincidence, is on our board. So, and working in partnership with her, that allowed us to go a wee bit further in terms of engagement within the broader Waterside area. So as I say, we had groups from Haldcrest Trust, the Older People Northwest, Ballymagorty, Ardnasea School, Rosemount Resource Centre, our Generation Senior Citizens Group, Lincoln Courts Residents Association, Nelson Drive, Paw Residents, and then established groups like the Pink Ladies, St. Colum's Park Youth, Destined, the Focus Project, and Out Northwest. In addition to the trail, if you want to just kind of move on there. Next slide. Yep, this is some of the artists that work up in our studio. Keep going, thank you. So we were basically a bubble. There was about 6 of us worked within the unit. People had their own designated area, so we were able to work quite safely. There was not one incident of COVID, so the systems we had in place were very robust and worked well. Next slide, please. These are some of the community workshops. We try to devise creative workshops that allowed ordinary people, ordinary citizens and young people to I suppose, make their creative imprint on the trail. The trail just was not about individual artists, but that was obviously important. But we found ways to engage with the wider community also and give them a stake in the event. Next slide. This is the Collins Park House. This is some Willow workshops, and you'll see some of the examples of the work later on. Next slide. Some of the senior citizens group. Next slide. Here is the front of St. Collins Park House. We toured the house and see an installation in its own right, where we created along with the local artist Sheila Byrne, she created this installation that reflected the Morrigan. So it was meant to be like a murder of crows, and that was backlit from the inside. So it was quite a striking installation. The festival itself happened over 3 days, 3 evenings, and based on the council statistics, the St. Collins Park House aspect of the Halloween festival attracted in the region of 80,000 people. So it was quite a considerable attraction. Next slide. Here's another example of an artist-led workshop. It's like a fairy village. Again, all light-based. Next, please. Again, these are more examples. That's the Out Northwest project. That's what they produced. Beautiful, beautiful work. So, as I say, we're really engaged with groups we traditionally work with at parade time, and also provide work for artists. Next, please. And this is the wall garden. And in the wall garden, each night, each evening, we had like pop-up performances. Again, organized in a safe manner, but importantly, allowing further opportunities for the local dance groups, which we depend upon annually, the showcase. Next one, please. Another example. This is an installation from Donegal group of artists and Cost and Glass, which means the Green Path. They work with recyclable, environmentally friendly materials, and that's an example of some of their work. Because although we're primarily Derry City and Strabane District Council, we like to think that we can engage artists from right across the region in the Northwest. Next slide, please. This is again some more examples. That's the wall garden night. For anybody that's seen it, it was quite a spectacle. And this is where the performance stuff happened. Oh, sorry, forgive me. Next slide, please. And that's the Morgan again with another installation. So that kind of concludes just to give you a wee snapshot of some of the stuff that I'm sure you will recognize as of a really high quality, but we still manage to engage communities as on par with what we would normally do at the parade. So what I'm going to do now, there's a short, it's about 2.5 minutes long. There's a film. If you could maybe start screening that, and then I'll conclude my presentation and take some questions. Maybe I'll just keep talking while we're waiting on that. Oh no, we're okay.
My name is Jim Collins. I'm project manager of the Northwest Carnival Initiative, and I'm just here to say a few words in tribute of the participants that took part in the Community Foundation for Northern Ireland funded After the Darkness Comes the Light. So it's great to see that we were able to bring these people together and create wonderful light installations at a time when, as we look into the darkness of winter, they have brought light to not only themselves but to the wider community.
We're the Pink Ladies Cancer Support Group, and we were absolutely delighted last year to be invited by Jim and the Northwest Carnival Project to participate in Morgan Awakens, and here we are this year again, having participated in workshops, and to see the final product behind us here, the dream catchers, the crows, the atmosphere. The reason that Morgan Awakens is relevant to us, and it was chosen for us, is because Morgan is actually a shapeshifter. So the whole idea of having a cancer diagnosis and that journey and how it can very often change your life, the Carnival Project thought was very apt to how we look at life after cancer.
Hi, I'm Kiva and I work for Northwest Carnival now. This is my 4th Halloween. This year I got to work with the Pink Ladies group and it was absolutely wonderful.
So my name's Colleen and I am Youth Development Officer with the Rainbow Project based here in Derry. This year we have contributed these lamps and light installation. Each piece is a piece from an individual young person, really representing the power that we find in nature. So we're very grateful to the Carnival Initiative for their contribution to festivals in Derry and in the Northwest, and look forward to working with them in the future.
Okay, maybe I'll just give a wee quick kind of update. It's more, the carnivals is more than the sum total of the 2 parades, but obviously that's an integral part of our work. The idea showing that wee last video film as well, it's good to actually hear the participant voices, but also that we're not just looking with a begging bowl to the council saying give us money. That obviously it's about trying to make the organisation more sustainable and look for additional sources of income. I suppose one of the issues we have is I'm the only sole employee. We're basically 1.3 employees, and which is it's remarkable that we manage to achieve as much as what we do, and we wouldn't be able to achieve any of it without the support of our local authority. But I suppose for us, just to give you a wee bit of insight, for us organisationally to grow and develop and fulfil our potential, we really have to grow. And I suppose what we've been doing in recent times, and we'll be publishing it shortly, is we have a strategic plan that explores ways or a kind of route to get us to where we can go and where we should go. And that's obviously going to involve like a cocktail of Fulton options. Obviously, our local authority, the council, being an integral one of them, but we need to go beyond kind of small monies that we currently receive from the Arts Council, and that's through the lotteries, and that's invaluable as well. But I suppose ultimately we We need to become more sustainable and endeavour to unlock more money we need to get on the annual funding programme from the Arts Council, which will provide the resources we need in order to grow and develop. But I suppose to give you a wee synopsis of the additional stuff we've been doing in terms of we kind of regularly work with the council, obviously John Kerr and Arts Culture, who's a member of our board. We regularly meet with the council's festivals and events team. Throughout the year, we've been engaging with Thrive regarding arts development. We've been at the fore of trying to develop a north-wide kind of carnival consortium made up of the key players. There's only really 2 carnival groups across the north, ourselves in Derry and the Beat Initiative in Belfast, and then there's circus skills organisations like In Your Space and the Belfast Circus School, and we're trying to band together because it is all about, I suppose, importantly, work in partnership, share resources, but also work together to try and better the whole field. In addition to that, just coincidentally, I'm currently working on the first St. Patrick's Day parade in a number of years, which is fantastic at the minute. We've recruited almost 600 participants, so that's fantastic. And I'm currently working on, we've been called by the Charities Commission, asking us to register our intention to become a charity. So again, that will provide further opportunities. So I think it's probably better for me now to shut up and allow you to ask some questions, and hopefully I'll try and answer them. But thank you for giving me the time.
Okay, Jim, thanks a million for that extremely informative presentation and the video, which again really showcases the excellent work these are doing, and I've seen it for my own 2 eyes for many years. Like, these are a crucial element of our world-class Halloween festival and some of the others. Like, and it's clear from what you showed us, he's really did adapt really well to the circumstances that we were all facing, and still offered the city and local people a bit of hope and a bit of colour, as you say. They do it, so really well done for that. I have a wee quick question myself, and then there's a number of people who have indicated that they'd like to come in, so I'll bring them in a wee second, and then you can respond at the end if that's all right, Jim.
Yep.
And really you've sort of partially touched on it on the latter part of your saying, but given that we are hopefully coming out of sort of the restrictive period that we've all lived through for 2 years, what are your plans for this year, and how will that be sort of reflected in the programme that these are able to put on? Obviously, we hope to have a St. Patrick's Day festival this year, as you say, back more what it used to be like. So it'd be good to hear about that. So that's from me. And the first indicated speaker is Alderman Devaney, and then we'll move on.
Thank you, Chair, for allowing me in, and welcome, Jim, with the presentation. I think the presentation shows, the huge amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. And when we look through that video that we have just watched here, the excellent piece of work that has been going on. And it's hard to believe that it's 18 years since the Northwest Carnival Initiative has been set up, and we've been watching the programs grow and grow. And it's good to see that partnership. So it is, as you talk rightly, Jim, with reps from a broad spectrum of the arts and cultural organisations. It's good to see that, and it's good to see you training some of your homegrown people as well to help deliver. And when my grandchildren go out, the one that they look for is the hay bale project. They just love it, so they do, and look forward to it every year. And it's good to see the amount of work goes on behind the scenes, and in delivering that creative activity, and the community groups and the community workshops, and it shows a huge amount of work going on. But I think, Jim, you really mentioned it. The difficulty that we've had this last 2 years with COVID, and I must commend the group on the work that they have done. Traveling through a very, very difficult time. We all know what everyone has been through this last 2 years, but well done to everybody. But as we move out of it, and hope we are moving out of it finally, all been well. I do appreciate that your words there, that you want to grow and develop, and for to grow and develop, you need funding, and that's vitally important to grow and everything. And the only question I have, I'm excited to hear you say about the many pots of funding there that you're probably going to look at to grow and grow this organization. I'm just wondering what's in your thoughts, Jim, for promoting some events out in rural villages, across the Sperrin, Derg and Fahan. And I'm specifically interested in the Sperrin for my own ward, but look, I'm a rural councillor, and it's good to be, we represent all rural areas, and it'd be good to see what initiatives might be able to be brought out into rural areas. But Jim, thank you very much for the presentation. Keep the good work up, and I do hope you have another successful year this year. And look, it's a brighter and better one for the year ahead. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Morris. Councillor Lowe.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Jim. And what can I say? It's the best presentation I've had in a long time. It fairly brightened my day. I do have to say that I experienced a lot of what you had shown there on the presentation, but the things that I didn't, and my family members and other people I met were able to tell me, all about them, and you have been doing extraordinary work in extraordinary times, I suppose. And I think it is great, the participation that you were able to achieve during the whole COVID and lockdown is something that has to be commended. And I do think that participation should be remotely, where people can't come out of their own homes but feel that they can still participate, that can be carried on in tandem with, face-to-face participation as well. And I think it's great. People feel they look at their work and they're saying, what's this? What can I do this? But when they see it all in a cumulative impact is great. So look, well done to all that. I do want to say too that during lockdown, there was individual streets too who benefited greatly from the carnival's resources, trying to entertain all the residents, and he's helped out there greatly too for that. And it is all down, as you said, Jim, you need resources and you need people, you need funding to help grow and they become sustainable. And that presentation, these are the backbone of the carnivals and the events within the city, and you deserve the recognition and the proper funding in order for you to grow. So we would certainly be very, very supportive of that. But look, all I want to say is thank you very much. Keep up the good work, and thanks to the board and all the volunteers that work. I know you've lost a very treasured volunteer at the start of COVID in January, Ireland last year, and she just loved the work up there, and he's all felt that very, very sorely. But the volunteers need to be supported too as well. And I just want to pass on our thanks for all the work that they do. So thank you, Jim.
Okay. Maybe Conor, I'll get
Right, okay. I go ahead. Of 3 further indicated speakers, Jim, but if you want to cover some of that now, and then I'll bring the rest.
I want to cover some of the ground. I mean, in terms of what we'll do, I mean, all the delivering upon the Patrick's Day is coming up shortly, and Halloween. Thankfully, the parades are now opening up, the town's opening up a bit. We're slowly emerging from COVID, so we will be able to get back on the streets again. But I suppose a key component of our work will be, and I thank Morris for his kind words. We need to get out and do more within, I think we've done remarkably well given the resources we have. But we need to get out there and deliver more for, you know, between Derry and Strabane and everywhere in between. You know, we have to deliver for the rural. It's something we have done in the, certainly over the years, and there is a, particularly in the Arts Council, there's emerging opportunities to deliver rural arts programming. We successfully done it just before COVID struck 2 years ago, and there's a thirst, there's an interest there. We have been at the fore of trying to encourage and promote and develop the skills programming aspect of our work. I mean, it's something we talked about recently, just in terms of part of the SCL arrangement. As I mean, if I can just quickly go through it, how it breaks down. There's 34,000 towards the parade at St. Patrick's Day. There's 36 for Halloween. There's operational costs, and there's some carnival skills programming costs of 8,000. Now that's aimed to kind of showcase at St. Patrick's Day in Strabane. But we're kind of looking to explore new ways of, I suppose, using that money that has the same result, but it's not. Before we've left it kind of the organise that skills programming and the run into the St. Patrick's Day parade in Strabane, and we've realised that doesn't really work. It kind of puts too much pressure on the organisation, limited as we are in terms of actual paid staff. So it's something we're going to work with our partners and council in the Strabane and rural area. Work directly with the groups who deliver on the ground, the groups who are chomping at the bit to get involved in carnival skills programming, and we'll work up a program that serves the work for them more importantly, you know. And we did broaden our board in terms of from the Strabane area with Ursula Doherty from the Strabane Community Project coming on board. I would be keen to develop that, you know, to get a group that looks. Because I mean, people in the city and Derry don't you know, the needs in Strabane are different, the needs in the rural are different. So it's a matter. The only way you find these things out if you go and engage the people that are working on the ground. That's going to be a priority for us, kind of going forward. That we need to you know, we need to engage with that with the various stakeholders. In terms of what else we're doing, you know, other than the parades, we will. I mean, there's the maritime coming up. We're going to deliver some stuff as part of the Columkill 1500. We want to build our. Patricia raised the point that, and again, I didn't cover near half. They were just the highlights of what we actually delivered upon. But our carnival workshop. We see that very much as central to what we deliver in terms of supporting the organisations and the various community festivals on the ground. We don't have to physically organise what they do. We just need to support them in doing what they do, and you know what they do and what they do best. So it's having a people, there's different aspects of the work. It's putting artists first, responding to their needs, and COVID has had an effect. There's a lot of people who I was able to rely upon in previous years, the particular artists. They're not there anymore because the work wasn't there for 2 years. They're now stacking shelves, or they're going back to university, or they're doing stuff other than the creative stuff they did before. So we have a deficit, and we have to try and redress that. That needs to be a priority also. Sorry, I'm not sure what. Probably lost.
I have a number of people that may come on, so we'll take that and then we can sort of sum up at the end. So, Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Chair, and I hope your recovery is progressing well. Jim, thanks for an absolutely fantastic presentation. I mean, you couldn't fail to be impressed with the work that's going on, but it's already alluded to. Maurice has alluded to it. You've accepted yourself, and I welcome the recognition of the gap areas beyond the city and Strabane town. I welcome that. And as you talked yourselves in terms of growth and development. I mean, Eglinton was mentioned with regard to the crochet group there. You know, I'm mindful of communities like Plumbridge, Newton Stewart, Donaghmana, Castlederrig, Sion Mills. You know, I'm mindful of those rural settlements. And I would just love to see some some of the exciting work that you've illustrated, in our small villages, in our small rural parks, etc. But again, as you've mentioned yourself and others have done, resources is a real issue, and hopefully as we begin to emerge into normality, that can begin to be addressed. And I'll mention this one to yourself, Jim, and I see Jacqueline's on here as well, so Jacqueline will be aware of my concern reference the Apple Fair in Castlederg, which we managed to get that brought in with the Halloween festival as really the opening event, the first event, and hopefully, there may be something that the Carnival Group can augment. I mean, it's very much locally based at the moment, but to augment that and to grow and develop your own organisation and to spread its own wings. But thanks for the work that has been done, and let's hope it can grow and develop. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Derek.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Farrell.
Thanks, Chair, and thanks, Jim, for the presentation. First of all, I'd like to commend you on the fantastic display that was at St. Colm's Park at Halloween. I met you on a very wet and windy night, but it was still magical and it was still memorable. And the show that you put on totally transformed the space and did something spectacular. For me, it was the highlight of Halloween, so much so that I went there twice. So thanks to you and your team for delivering such an impressive event. And obviously, St. Patrick's Day is less than 2 weeks ago. And it's great to see the return of the St. Patrick's Day Carnival, which has been absent for 2 years now. It's a key event in our cultural calendar. It's one of the jewels in our crown, and it promises to be an amazing festival. And it's a sign that society is returning to normal after these 2 years of COVID. So thanks to you and your team and the partner organisations and Greater Chantala Community Arts and your space, Bluebell Arts, Rainbow Project, etc. You are a credit to this city and district, and we're fantastically proud of the work you do. And I want to mention the ferry doors because they were on a couple of the slides there, and every time I take my 5-year-old daughter through St. Colm's Park, she's like, "Daddy, will we go up to see if the ferries are in?" But it hasn't happened yet. They must be out working, but we live in hope. But I've got one question. Obviously, you're talking about funding. If you get more funding, you can do more. That's fine, and that's totally sensible. But do you get any funding at all from the Arts Council? Because it is clear that there is a massive disparity between what organisations in Derry get versus Belfast. And we have representatives from the Department for Communities in next month, I believe, and DFC fund the Arts Council. So I'd be keen to understand, do you currently get any funding at all?
We
that'd be really useful to understand. Thanks, Jim.
Yep. Thank you.
So I have two further speakers here, and then I'll bring you back just to cover
Right,
that.
right.
That'll probably
Aye,
consider it. All
that'll
right.
do,
So,
that's fine.
Councillor Hargan.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks, Jim, for a really excellent presentation. It was great to see all the fantastic work that the initiative has done, and it is the case that you have done fantastic work over the last couple of years, even when it's been very, very difficult to do work. And I think that those slides and images show were a demonstration of how you helped to brighten up the city and brighten up the district. I think that the way the city centre was a rainbow of colours, at a time when we couldn't have outdoor events, I think speaks to the great work that you have done and how that I think a lot of people were delighted to see that, and it made a real difference for people. And it's great now to see that we will be going back to having more outdoor events. which I think we can all celebrate, and everybody is obviously looking forward to St. Patrick's Day and a big carnival, and that's super exciting. Yeah, so I think look, everybody's commended you and Carnival's work, and we're going to do the same. We think it's fantastic. I think obviously we want to do more. I'm sure you want to do more, and you can do more with more resources. And I think we as a council have to be supporting you and others in that endeavour to actually make sure that we are getting the right type of funding and resources for yourselves and others, so we can actually make sure that every community is fully engaged and we can involve as many people as possible, and allow art and culture to impact people in the great way that it does, in terms of all the advantages that you get from a vibrant art that people can engage with. And that's, I guess, brings us to the we've been in a discussion, we've all been engaged in it as a council, where it's been acknowledged now by the Department for Communities and by the Arts Council that there's structural inequality when it comes to funding the arts and culture sector here in the Northwest and in our council area. And this is now, this has been acknowledged and agreed to, and now we have to see that changed. I think the work of the initiative shows how fantastic our arts and culture sector is here, and that's all the more reason why it should be properly funded. And I think that these structural inequalities have to go, and so I think that's going to be the key for us and for you, to get the kind of resources that actually allows us to do more than we're doing, and to involve more people. So I think we have to keep a spotlight on that and make sure that that doesn't disappear as a priority for the council to keep pushing on. But thanks again, Jim.
Thank you, Sean.
Okay, Jim, finally, Councillor Danley.
Chair, and I hope you wish you well in your fight against COVID. Thanks for the presentation. Jim was quite clear in it, a lot of hard work that that does go on, and I know that personally when we were operating out of the building next to you down in the Rathmore, and this work's done, and that's despite the sort of disparity in funding and finances that the Northwest faces. And it's good. What's interesting about this too is the fact it's the work with Newgate and work with the Solace Dancers who are operating out of Brady. And when some of the previous speakers talking about going into the rural areas, I'm sure that the Brady people could be instrumental in trying to get that expansion into rural areas that sort of may feel left out. So just basically I want to put on record appreciation and an acknowledgement of the good work that's happening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Jim, you want to come back in on that?
I mean, Gary's right. I mean, in terms of that's the key to getting into the rural, getting the rural people involved, and they are involved. We have James Key from the Brady, from the Solace Centre in Brady, and they engage. The Solace Dancers are out every Halloween. That wouldn't be a Halloween parade without them. So it's about building. It's about reaching out and creating more partnerships. I would like to just take the opportunity to thank Sean Harkin as well. He was up until recently a board member on behalf of the committee. I'd like to just thank him for the contribution that he has made. And I know Maeve is jumping in his shoes. In terms of Rory's question about the funding, we do receive funding through the Arts Council Lotteries Department. We get this current year we've received £31,600. Now, sounds a lot. It's not really a lot. But however, the difficulty we have now, we receive some pots of money as well, small amounts for various, the Arts Council Rural Arts Programme being one, and we'll be applying for that again. And there were some monies available over COVID. But what we need to do, and the councillors here, some of the councillors have referred to the fact that there is a disparity between the funding in Belfast and funding west of the band, and in particular the Derry City and Strabane District Council area. We need to kind of, the case has been made. I think the Arts Council have accepted it, but at the minute we're caught in limbo land because they're not making any new calls for organisations to get on board the annual funding programme, and that's where we need to be. You know, where you've got the security of 3 years funding, and they provide posts. My job is partly funded through the lotteries. They don't give you full job costs, and they don't give you any new posts. So we can't get any more in terms of salaries from the lotteries, and so it's a must that we get on that annual funding programme. John Carroll, he's been helping to kind of facilitate them discussions between the arts community here locally and the Arts Council. The case has been put to them. They have acknowledged that. We just need to kind of keep that battle going, and make the case, and hopefully there'll be some form of stability across the at government level where we can cut budgets and hopefully tackle that disparity of funding. So there's much more work to do, and we're in a unique position that we are representative in terms of our board. This is my second meeting the committee, and there's been nothing but good positive feedback and responses. So organisationally we're pushing an open door in terms of our local authority. People have bought on, they see the work that we've done, so we just need to, that's what part of the strategic plan is about, is trying to get a roadmap to find help, get the resources that we need. I think I'll kind of end on that, and thank the committee for allowing me the opportunity to speak to them, and I look forward to speaking to them again.
Okay.
So unless there's any other, Connor.
Right. It just remains for me as chair then just to thank you again for coming in and for the presentations you delivered, and obviously, like many speakers have said, the absolute excellent work that you do, and we all hope that we can keep that up this year as we hopefully come out of the pandemic that we're all in. So great stuff again, Jim. Listen, just feel free now to log out, and if you've nothing else to do, you can watch the rest of it on YouTube, but that's leave that up to you. But thanks a million for your attendance here at the meeting.
Sorry, Connor, one thing I would say is as soon as we have the strategic plan finalised, we're at a draft stage now, I'll ensure that all the committee members receive a copy of it.
That's great. Thanks, Jim. Okay.
Thank you, Connor.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, folks, moving on. The rest of the items on the open agenda are for information, and as usual, I'm going to take these as a block. We'll take them as 2 blocks, given that there's a substantial number of them. So I'm going to take items 7 to 12, and if any members want to speak or comment on any of those items, please indicate in the chat now, please. Okay.
Yeah, Connor, 1 second. Sorry, I couldn't get anything in the chat there. Can I speak to item 12, please?
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just wanted to thank the officers for getting on with the work of this year's Workers' Rights and Social Justice Week. And I think some of the themes in there are excellent themes. I'm glad to see that the proposal to include recognition of the dockers, Derry dockers is included, and I think that will be well received by the dockers at Foyle Port, and it'll be well received by generations of dockers across our city and district. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and I know that the Derry Trades Union Council as well is looking forward to engaging with the council. And again, the May Day, the Workers' Rights and Social Justice Weeks has been confined to online events. over the last couple of years, and that includes the May Day March and Rally. And I think people are very much hoping that there'll be public events this year, and that we'll be back on the streets in very large numbers this year for workers' rights and social justice. So just thank everybody that's been involved in putting that together so far.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Councillor Rose indicated. Go ahead. Sure.
Sorry, Connor. Thanks. No, it's just item 11, Connor, which I declared an interest in. I just want to. I think there might be a wee typo there. It's in one of the data boards. It's on there. It's saying it's the last group, and it's saying their participation was, for me, it was half, but it's coming up at 75%. Maybe it's just to get the numbers right, to make sure they're right. So I'm thinking it should read 50% instead of 75. Could be wrong, stand to be corrected, but just a wee, just to get that sorted if it is wrong. Thank you.
Okay, do any of the officers want to deal with that issue, just to clarify that for us, please?
Chair, Kevin's not online, unfortunately, but I will check that out and get it corrected before it goes to full council.
That's grand. It's just I'm just looking at it here now. It's job direction. It's saying recruitment target for year 4 was 30, and the actual achieved was 15, and it's saying it's 75%. For me, that looks 50%. Yeah. So, but minor issue, but still we want to get things right. Okay, thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for pointing that out, Patricia. Right. Okay, well, that if we could now take the second block. So that's items 13 to 16. If there's anyone wants to indicate they speak on it. Now, well, Morris, that was in the previous block, but I'll take it anyway. So go ahead, Alderman Devaney.
Sorry, Chair. I had to take a phone call there. I do apologise for coming in. It's just to item 9, Chair. I just want to welcome the update on the Claudy Memorial, and I do appreciate the work that has been done by council officers. I think we're all aware of the atrocity that happened out there, but very, very supportive of the ongoing work and the engagement with those who lost loved ones, the families of those who loved ones, to enhance that area out there, and hope that this grows to fruition. Looks at looking at the issues the families have with the memorial out there, but just to welcome it, Chair. Thanks.
Okay, Morris. Okay, no one else has indicated in terms of items 30 to 16. So if we can take those all as noted, that takes us to confidential. Could I have a proposer and a seconder for us to move on to confidential, please?
So proposed, Alderman Devaney.
I'll second, Connor.
Okay, can officers now just turn off the broadcast and we'll move on to confidential?